Hello, hi. Today is the 25th of July 2025. We're still reeling from the weather disturbances that up to now you know, the combined effect of different signals from the storm and also the monsoon. They are still being felt in the northern part of the Philippines. While for us here, thankfully, the the what we are sort of we're not happy about is that our laundry would not be smelling sun dried and fresh, but that is nothing compared to the woes and the heartbreak and the losses being felt by some of our fellow Filipinos who are, right now they are in a state of shock probably and still reeling, and they are, it's suspended what they have to go through, to recover and to somewhat build from the damages. Even that part is still being suspended, or it's on hold because some parts of the northern part of the Philippines, the landfall of Typhoon Emong, it's still wait and see, but we are so praying that things get better finally, that the worst of the preparation will not be needed, and that that is the sad part of this Friday, although it's a special day for us. Happy birthday, May. And that today is her birthday, but we also have our own personal grief and what challenges, so we cannot celebrate it the way that we could have had it not happened, in like today. Had it not happened, yes, today of all days. Well, anyway, what I would like to share also is that the uniqueness of the situation that I am in is coming to a head as I would personally submit the proof of my identification coming from the generation that where my parents or the children of the generation of our parents had belonged to. Usually in a small town like this where we know of each other, the personal information about someone we know come through, informal setting, like someone, a family we've met in the restaurant or in a public place or in a social gathering, like how have you been, how many kids do you have grandparents, and so the exchanges of the, especially the family members, did your daughter get married or what happened, so something like that. Being a small community, the registrations and the certificates that I would be bringing, signed by these are the pro-formatted papers, signed by those who knew personally my parents and the family that I belong to. As I carry these documents personally to the national offices and be like confronted in a more polite way, of course. So what if your name is Clarissa talaga Garcia? So what if you have been cleared of any? pending cases, criminal, civil. So what if you have no criminal record? So what if, like in high school or in, during your studies, you didn't have any episode like at the principal's office, something like that. Like, what was the worst offense that I had been apprehended for? So what if I didn't, if my parents had never had any occasion to bring me to a psychologist or psychiatrist during my school days? And what happened in 2003, 2004? So what about the data and the records coming from the subscribed, the forms with letterheads, saying yours truly, Clarissa M. talaga, had been deemed as cleared, and that verified, validated by the offices, where any troubled spots could easily be flagged, because we know each other. It's a small community. So if there is any discrepancy, for sure it's something irregular, and something that would have to go through the process in order to sort out. Because like, my daughter is, the godparents, we call them ninong and ninang. We have we usually ran along the same circles for quite some time, and then when it stopped, it's noteworthy. And that everyone should, like, if it leads to any more trouble, for my part, I should also be given time to explain my side, because we were as thick as gloves. Yes. And any unseemly, or like any unsavory story about a person would be against the natural custom and tradition, and it's bound to be, a matter of official record. And if it's not, or like one sort of records has those unseemly and those unsavory records, while they are not supported and corroborated by other like other set of personal effects, that is worth looking into, right? So now that I am personally able to present them where the buck stops, usually it's the head office, yeah, because there is like an internal procedure where they police their own ranks. They can validate the issuances of their own departments, of their own personnel, where I am not privy of, but I should be told, like, if some sort of feedback or finding had took place where something irregular had resulted to me being clear, then I should be told about it, right? And because it will affect my standing in the community, in the society, especially that I have a platform, especially that my works go through the public scrutiny, and that my economic well-being is a direct result of public patronage. As a writer, I rely on the paying public, yeah, to support it. So without it, I am duty bound to face head on whatever it is that would prevent me from acquiring and continuing a good name, a good reputation in the industry, in the field that I had established my niche, and not just on my say-so, but according to the personal effects, to the documents that I would be personally bringing. So the buck stops here, and that would be in Metro Manila. So in Metro Manila, it would be expected, like, for me to be entertained in the offices where I can refer to as the offices where I went to be able to be held accountable or validated, so that the domestic side of the trial of facts can also provide clarity to what has been happening abroad, elsewhere. And since some of the parties of interest are also Filipinos, whatever they would say to me in person would matter when it comes to their good faith and when it comes to the veracity of their statements, whether like they would be acting in bad faith, or I can be alleged or accused to be that person with bad faith, like saying one thing to another and then doing another. And when it all comes to the one desk where the judgment can be rendered, I believe that we should have the, it should not be shortcutted, like we didn't cut corners, and that we had allowed for as much peaceful and amicable solution, that in spite of the ongoing proceedings, we did not neglect our duty to fellow human being, to a fellow person, because we don't want to be accused of, like an underhanded way of pursuing like a grievance or vengeance of, the ill will resulting to, hurting another person with full intent, with malice. So me presenting myself with all the police records, with all the clearances that I have, and if the at most I can reach is the guard office, let it be put into record that I had, for my part, I was able to, to extend an offering, a way to resolve it, a way for my person to be appraised, because it would be such a tall order for any spokesperson or any representative of mine to be put on the stand, to be examined and cross-examined, where beforehand all my personal effects and all my witnesses would also be there, and the validation of the documents to be presented would be compared to what I have already presented. Like, I had been accountable to what I had submitted as, as my work, as my real identification, that any spokesperson in my absence, it's such a high bar to be guided, because to be my spokesperson in my place, the justification and how, by someone, an undergraduate like me, for me to be able to enlist the professional help needed to reach, to get this far, it had taken some sacrifices and some really, I would say, I've been, not that I've been lucky, yes, I've been blessed. And to demean that part where, to get the credit, it would be so counterproductive, and also so It's full of pitfalls. Yes, that's it. To get the credit that someone has earned over time, and the provisions that that I was able to use. Now the table is open to, to render the judgment whether it was real, valid, or and did it come from a poisonous tree, in a matter of saying. Like, was it done like, setting up by the books, yeah, legitimately, legally, like. So if another spokesperson will speak for me, that is, it it is very, it has its own risks. And right now, it's really down to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's bare bone, knuckles. The confrontations and the face off, it has come to the point wherein the application of law could invalidate or could apply the law. It's decision time, yes. Deciding whether the actions and the statements had been done, had caused hurt and damages to another person. I would suppose that we all want to be guided by, the practical side of it. Like, even if we don't know all the, legal technicalities, we can still be guided by the usual, whatever is like, what however we look at another person, it's bound to show. So we have this subject matter in elementary, GMRC, good manners and right conduct. It's not being plastic, it's not being untrue to yourself, but we like we come we present ourselves like we don't want to intimidate or overwhelm or give a wrong impression to another person by coming across as someone so aggressively, like very threatening, or being turned off by our we don't want the other person to be turned off by any offensive gestures or words that we want. So I truly begin that I had started right at Lucena West 1 Elementary School. It's a public school, and the good manners and right conduct being taught the students there, which somehow I can still remember from from my teachers, Miss De La Peña, yeah, Miss Paderon, and the classmates that I had, the schoolmates that I had. So all these are behind the transcript of record that I cannot falsify, and no other person has the right also to regard them as falsified documents that should not be that should fail to initiate my applications, so something like that. So I did not live in a vacuum. I wasn't isolated. Every actions that I did, of course, just like a domino, I had been affected by the actions of another person. Just like I have impacted the actions and words of another person, because we do not live. Yeah, that's actually the basic of interactions. Like, yeah, and me going to Metro Manila with all the proof of being the eldest daughter of my parents, having gone through years and years of being validated by the contemporary of my parents and my uncles, and by the, age old relations. This is yours truly, Clarisse T, in Metro Manila.